Good afternoon, everyone. We'll now call to order the City of Murfreesboro Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting for June 22nd, 2022. First item on our agenda is a determination of a quorum. With 3 of the 5 members of the board, we do have a quorum, just barely, but we have quorum today. The next item on our agenda is a consideration of the minutes from our regular meeting on April 27th, 2022. Those minutes were provided to the board members. Are there any changes necessary to those?
No, sir.
Okay.
Hearing none, those will stand as written, and we'll move now to new business. Our first application is a variance request, application Z22009 by Paul and Jessica Siegert. They're requesting 2 variances from the zoning ordinance based on front setback on the average block face requiring 26 feet to allow 13 feet, and another variance requiring a rear setback of 20 feet to allow 13 feet. And this is for an RS4 zone located at 203 Hancock Street. Mr. Barbie, I believe you're going to present this to us.
Good afternoon, Chairman Young. Just wanted to present this to you this afternoon. As you explained, Mr. Paul and Jessica Siegert are requesting 2 variances in order to construct a single-family detached residence at 203 South Hancock Street. The current property is zoned RS4, which is single-family residential district, 4,000 square foot lot minimum. The lot is currently 3,250 square feet. Little history on the lot. It was originally subdivided and platted on July 2nd of 1926, and an approximately 800 square foot single-family residence was placed on the property in 1935. All of this to say that the site predates our current zoning ordinance, which went into effect January 19th of 1984. So it is a very old lot in an older part of our community. Looking at the variance request, they have requested for the front setback a 13-foot variance from the required 26-foot front setback, and that's set forth by the average block face. Property is also located inside of our city core overlay, which allows the front setback to be the average of the other structures on that block face, meaning from the front of the structure to the front property line of each structure on that face is totaled, and then we get an average setback. The maximum setback allowed inside that district is 25 feet. So this one came back where they would need a 26-foot setback. So they are requesting a 13-foot variance for the front. For the rear setback, they're requesting a 7-foot variance from the required 20-foot setback, which is their standard bulk setback set forth in Chart 2. Because of the lot size, which is 65 feet deep by 50 feet wide, with the setbacks currently as they are, it makes a very limited building envelope and makes it very difficult to construct a structure on the lot. We have reviewed the information that was submitted as well as the standards required for a variance, and we believe that these standards have been met due to the size of the lot being under the minimum required 4,000 square feet for this district, and also with the setbacks that are applied to it, making it very difficult to construct a reasonable structure. I'm here today. I believe Mr. Siegert and his wife are also here as well. If you have any questions, be glad to answer them. We would ask, there are no conditions of approval, so if you have any questions, please let us know.
Thank you. Any questions for staff at this point?
No.
Mr. and Ms. Siegert, anything you'd like to add to the application? Okay. At this time, we'll conduct a public hearing. Is there anyone present wishing to speak for or against this application? If so, come forward, give us your name and address, and provide us any comments you may have. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and open the floor for any further discussion or motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the two variance requests based on the information provided by staff, based on facts that there have been previous, evidently previous activities where variances for the same deviations approved, and due to the size of the lot, it appears to meet all the standards required to approve a variance, and I so move.
I was just curious. Wasn't there a historic zoning area that would have prevented this? I thought that there was in the works that there was going to be because there's so many houses of this nature in the historic areas that when new buildings arise, that they don't necessarily fit in, even if the same envelope was used, they don't fit into the standards for residential zones. I just thought that.
Are you referring to the city core overlay?
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
Right, this property is located within the city core overlay, and that's where it does allow for an adjustment of that front setback to be the average of the other principal structures on that block face. So this one, when we did the average, it came out to be 26 feet,
Okay.
which even at 26 feet, it does create a very small envelope
It's still, okay.
for construction, and that's why they are requesting an additional 13-foot variance from the 26
That
foot.
is outside even of the adjustments made for the city overlay.
Yes, ma'am. And this structure will look very similar to the adjacent property to the east.
Okay.
Let's see if it's on the map here. And zoom in a little bit. You'll see the small lot here. It will look very similar to this lot.
And the setbacks would be similar in that?
The setbacks will be very, very similar. It's done so that the structure will be able to blend in with that area of the community, so it does provide a consistent look.
Okay. But those other homes that, some of them have bigger backyards, it looks like, have a deeper setback, and that's why the way that the core overlay requirements don't necessarily, there still is a variance required despite that, those adjustments that are made from historically we had a lot of these, and that has limited those because of the way that the historic district is.
That's correct. That was to allow for new structures to go in place of buildings that are too far beyond repair, for new structures to be built and still be able to blend within that neighborhood as far as setbacks go, and also to allow a large enough envelope for a feasible structure to go back on the lot.
Okay.
They're also providing parking on the property.
That's correct.
It seemed like that was the reason why it squished in onto one side. Yeah.
That's correct.
Instead of street parking, which wouldn't be helpful, as helpful. Okay. Thank you for answering that. I just need a little extra.
I understand.
Mr. Chairman, there's a motion on the
There
floor,
isn't.
but it hasn't been seconded.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion or any more questions? Anything
Well, I
clarified?
hate to be picky. I was concerned that we didn't state all of the specifics that we have to state for these. Don't the variances require us to state specifically each?
Well, I kind of
Perfect timing.
grabbed all of that in one comment. If you would like for me to restate it, I can, and because based on what it said, you know, first of all, there's obviously not self-created issue is already there. It's not going to be detrimental to the rest of the neighboring land around it. It's not going to impair the supply of light and air to the other adjacent properties. And the characteristics of this particular property, again, A, being under 4,000 square feet already, you know, and obviously that's not self-created on the applicant's past. So all those being said, it appears to me to be in compliance with the what is required to have a variance approved.
Any further comments or questions? That's fine. All right, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, so that application's been approved. Next, we'll move to a special use permit request, application Z22020 by Fellowship Bible Church. They're represented by Matt Taylor of SEC. They're requesting a special use permit for the expansion of an existing institutional group assembly use to install an 8,190 square foot temporary modular building for use by a private school that would cover grades kindergarten through 12th in conjunction with the existing church. This is an RS-15 zone and located at 4236 Veterans Parkway. Mr. Aguilera, if you'd go over this application for us.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you, members of the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have a great crowd out here today. I'm excited because usually with these, we only have 1 or 2 people. So today's item is a request for a special use permit by Fellowship Bible Church, represented by Matt Taylor of SEC. The request is to place approximately 8,190 square foot modular building next to the church, and I pulled this up on the site plan for everybody's view. You can see that right here, that the proposed location is going to be around in that approximate area. And just so the orientation is correct, as I talk through this, this is facing, the site faces north along Veterans Parkway, and then you have Jack Bryan's Drive right here. So I just want to make sure, as I describe the orientation of the modular, that we don't get confused later on. The request is to place an 8,190 square foot modular building next to the church. This is located at 4236 Veterans Parkway and has various multifamily and single family uses surrounding the site. Fellowship Bible Church states that they wish to install the temporary modular building to allow a private school, Redeemer Classical Academy, to use it for a 2-year period for school operations. The modular building would be installed on the south side of the church building and the existing sidewalk. That is, again, why I'm describing it, because we are facing north here, going along north. And then this would be, of course, on the south side of the building right here. And as I try and draw chicken scratch right now on the board. The modular building will be, as stated in the letter, the modular building will be screened and have new landscaping to shield it from Veterans Parkway, and we'll also have a covered porch installed with it to soften the appearance of it being a modular building, and again, have some screening from the public rights of way. There is no new on-site lighting being proposed. Only lighting that will be proposed with this building will be attached to the building per the requirements for Building and Codes Department. In addition, the school will be using the existing parking lot for on-site circulation during school operating hours. I'll talk about that again in a little bit, but that is because due to the number of parking available on-site, as you can see right here, that currently exceeds it. The site is required to have 39 parking spaces and has a total of 184 plus 7 handicap spaces, so a total of 191, which exceeds the parking requirements per Chart 4 of the zoning ordinance. The school will operate during times that would not conflict with the church service. Usually, again, we see this as around Wednesday or Sunday, and so the applicant has confirmed in its letter that this would not be conflicting with the church service time or, again, be detrimental to the surrounding residential properties. And on page 2 of the staff report, you can see I'll get a little bulleted, detailed list of what they are proposing with their church, with the school times, a little bit of the operation of the school, and kind of the number of students that are going to be there, plus staff, which is around 100 total persons there. The usual requests with the special use permit, I'm going to provide a little bit of background information to this, so not only for the public record, but for those that are on the board and those here in the public. Redeemer Academy School, Classical Academy, was granted approval from the BZA for a special use permit in July 2013 to use an existing temporary modulars at Bethel Community Church, located at 1503 Sulphur Springs Road, to establish a new private school. This special use permit allowed the use of a temporary modulars for up to 2 years and to be removed July 31st of 2015. In January 2014, Redeemer Academy requested and received approval for a special use permit for an additional 5 years, allowing the modulars to remain until July 31st of 2021, and until the school would be able to find a more permanent location. And in their search, they were able to find a more permanent location, but due to the period that we are in right now, due to construction costs and such as that, they had to delay that. And so Redeemer submitted a new special use permit request on February 2019, requesting an extension for that, and received approval, which was set to expire July 31st of 2022, which is, of course, of this year. The applicant, Fellowship Bible Church, has provided a letter assuming responsibility of the requested modular removal in 2 years. Redeemer has also provided written confirmation that they will be able to relocate to their permanent campus property within 2 years, which is going July 31st of 2024, and will no longer need the temporary modular. Staff has worked with them to give us insurance that they will be abiding by the previous conditions of approval from the previous special use permit, and has also been very cooperative in providing the information on its current status. In looking over the standards of general applicability, staff has agreed that has determined that it is compliant with these standards. The proposed building addition should have minimal impact on the surrounding area, and as previously mentioned, there's not going to be any new on-site lighting, and that the only lighting will be provided will be on the building. Parking will be managed on site, and again, they exceed the parking requirements per Chart 4. Staff believes that per the standards of general applicability, that these will be served adequately by essential public facilities. There are no additional street connections or improvements for the public facilities that are on the site, and the applicant has confirmed that there will be no school van or bus routes for this proposed location. There is going to be adequate on-site parking, and again, as mentioned previously, they are going to be operating outside of these church service times, which will not be conflicting with the church operations. The applicant has stated that there's no anticipated change in traffic patterns, and even with the school operations, the applicant believes that the volume to be low and have, again, no detrimental impacts to the area. In reviewing the standards for institutional group assembly, staff believes that the applicant is compliant with these standards as well. Parking, again, will be managed on site, and that they are to provide some additional landscaping around the modular to help further screen this from public rights-of-way. Solid waste will be handled via an existing dumpster located on site, and of course there will be some screening with that as well to provide that some screening from public rights of way. And again, included in your special use permit packet, there is a description of what they are proposing entirely with this request. They were readily available and very cooperative in providing this information to us to ensure that this is going to, soften the look of what a modular looks like. Based on the above analysis by staff and the evidence submitted by the applicant, we believe that the requested use is compliant, and recommend approval of the special use permit to allow the temporary modular building and operation of a private school subject to the following conditions. And there are 8 conditions here for your approval and consideration. I am here for any questions, and Redeemer is here as well for any questions you may have on their operations, and Matt Taylor of SCC is here as well if you want to discuss any of the specifics about the site. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for staff at this point? Did you mention you were going to screen on the section of the property, I guess, facing west?
Matt Taylor of SEC. Yes, sir. Staff asked us to add a porch. We're going to do an architectural treatment, and then we've also proposed additional landscaping between the modular building and Veterans Parkway.
Okay.
And I did want to clarify on the trash. It is a trash cart enclosure. We're not going to propose a new dumpster right now. The dumpster will come with a future phase of the church itself. And so this was the least impactful and easiest to screen. I think that was a late change I worked on directly with Marina, so Mr. Aguilera may not have known that.
All right.
Is there screening, is that the west side, towards those neighbors to the back?
There's already an existing landscape buffer. It was
Okay.
installed with the original church construction, and then there are substantial trees and forested areas to the south
Yeah.
of the building as well. Yes, ma'am.
This is more curiosity. I don't think this is related to what we can review, but and I'm not sure if I've ever asked this before. I know we've dealt with portables, and you probably already have this at the school, but they'll be able to go in the church if there was an emergency, like a tornado or something, correct? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We will be working very closely with the church. The church is very happy to have them here. Again, both parties desire for this to be a temporary situation. The school does already own, I think it was approximately 20 acres off of Old Salem Pike, between Old Salem and New Salem. They actually purchased that from the Rucker Donnell Foundation. Part of that was gifted, part of it was purchased. And so I actually have a site plan approval in place. We're ready to start construction, I believe, and then COVID hit. And then construction cost escalation is they're chasing that, but they're well underway on their fundraising efforts. They have a financial partner or lender in place and has been at the table, so well aware. So they're anxious to get that started within the next few months so they can be in school in 2024.
Any further questions for?
No.
Thanks. At this time, we'll conduct a public hearing. If there's anyone wishing to speak for or against this application, if you'd come forward, give us your name and address, and you can provide us with any comments you may have.
Monty Waldron, and I'm at 4236 Veterans Parkway. I'm one of the pastors of the church, Fellowship Bible Church. So just wanted to voice our support for Redeemer and our excitement about them being there for us to have a great partnership, education for the next generation. So just want to make sure you heard me say that. Any
Thank you.
questions?
No, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Ben Nolan. I'm at 1623 Shelley Street. I'm the headmaster at Redeemer Classical Academy. And I just want to reiterate, I'm very grateful for Joel and Matt's comments. They've covered all the pertinent terrain, I think, of anything that I could add. But I just want to reiterate some things that were stated. COVID, like many other small businesses, it pushed our timeline back by about 18 months. And having this partnership with Fellowship Bible Church will allow us to continue to grow as a school while we build on our property that we own debt-free. And so we are eager to move in that direction, eager to build and lay down some permanent roots, and very grateful for Fellowship Bible Church's partnership with us, and grateful to work with all of you, Mr. Young, and your team. So thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we'll close the public hearing and open the floor for any further discussion or a motion.
I'll move to approve, subject to the staff conditions of approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are none, so that application's been approved. Next is staff reports and other business.
No staff reports and other business, but I wanted to thank everybody for coming out this afternoon. It was very kind and very nice to see all of you at the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. But nope, there are no other business at this time.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate everybody's time. We will adjourn.